I95.
Yeah. Special guest live in the studio, longtime listener, friend of the show, and author, Jay Cadmus.
Jay Cadmus. How are you?
Fellas?
What's up,
good?
man?
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, same to you guys. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. You sent us, what was it, last week or the week before? We got a copy of your new book.
Yeah.
It's called Mob Guy.
Right.
Tell us about the book.
It's very similar to the first book. Ordinary average guy lives in a small western Connecticut town, meets another guy in town, seems like a nice guy. They have a lot in common. You know, they start to do things together. They read the same books. Their wives become inseparable. Their teens are dating. Their younger kids are pals. And then he slowly learns that this new best friend might be the local organized crime boss, and things kind of start to unspool from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like a cool concept.
Yeah.
So, now, this is or is not related to your first book, Ordinary Man, I'm sorry.
It's in the same universe. You'll see some of the same secondary and tertiary characters from that book, but you won't see the main guy from the first book. You might see a shadow if you're watching close. So same town. It's a little town. It's not a real town. It's called Durbville.
Durbville.
Why not?
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's really good from what we read so far, and you put us in the book. Why did you do that?
Why would you do that?
Yeah, it seemed like a good idea at the time. You'd be amazed at how often I use that phrase to explain my decisions. It ranks right up there with beats the heck out of me and darned if I know. No, actually, there's a really good, solid reason for that, which is what I've learned as I'm writing these books is you want the reader to engage with the characters. You want the readers to understand and, hopefully even like most of the characters. And in order to do that, they have to get to know them. So you have to leave them some clues. They're like, well, who is this guy? What's his deal? And this is kind of a breadcrumb I leave. And it's like, oh, he's an I95 guy. He likes the morning show. That's his sense of humor. Even the thing with Large Dave with the deep cut in the afternoon when he was doing that. Oh, this is a guy. He's not just a greatest hits guy. He can go deeper into the catalog. Mm-hmm. So it kind of gives you a little dimension on this guy, so you start to understand who he is, and maybe and it's got to be something relatable. Most people can relate to that.
Who would you like us to make the check out to?
You can make it out to me.
Okay,
that's
sure.
fine. You can make it out to Cash. That's fine.
All right.
So yeah, I mean the central idea for the book came from. You guys, I think you've met him. There was a gentleman who lived in my town, New Fairfield, very successful businessman, owned a local sports franchise, philanthropist, well-known, well-liked around the community. By my understanding, everybody said nicest guy you'd ever want to meet, also was apparently connected with one of the 5 families in New York. Eventually went to jail on racketeering charges. And I thought, well, what was that? Somebody lived next door to him. Somebody was his best friend. What was that like? And I want to be clear, the book is not about him. That's just kind of where I got the idea from.
Yeah. And when you told us about the concept of the book, it certainly sounded familiar.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to write a book? That just sounds like an overwhelming task.
It's a lot, it took me about 3. I've been a writer my whole career, but I don't think before the first book and this one, I don't think I'd ever written anything longer than about 20,000 words. So for me, it was about, can I do this? It was about the experience, do I have a story that I can tell in this way? It took me about 3 years, but that's really, most of the writing gets done in the last year. Once you get to the 50% point, it's like, all right, I gotta get this thing done.
Yeah.
And what I do is, I try to draw on things that I know. I try to draw on things that I've experienced, things that I've witnessed. I started my career as a newspaper reporter, so you think of things in terms of stories, and you collect stories. So I can write about things that are in the book, like playing in bands, because I do that. Mm-hmm. So I can do that authentically. I can write about things like having an elderly parent with Alzheimer's, because I experienced that, so I know what that's like. I can even write about things like donating a kidney to somebody, because I did that.
Right.
So that's a whole other story.
We haven't done anything.
No.
Well, you guys have done tons. But the point is, you can't just drop that stuff into the book. You got to knit it into the story so that it actually pushes the story forward and turns it into something somebody might actually want to read.
How long did it take you to write this book?
About 3 years.
3 years.
About 3 years, yeah. So I think I started having the ideas for it back in 2020. You got to have the idea. You gotta come up with the hook. What's the hook? What happens when a nobody becomes a hero? That's the first book. This one is what happens when you associate with the wrong people.
Yeah.
So, and then once you've got the hook, And that's the hard part, is coming up with a fresh angle. And then, again, knitting something together that's 300 pages, and hopefully when you're done, it makes sense. Friends and family guarantee to anybody listening, if you buy the book and don't like it, get in touch with me. I will give you your money back. It's really not a big deal. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, they say write what you know, so it sounds like you did
Yeah.
that. That's why like 10% of my articles are about dildos. So
Well,
You're
that works
sad.
great for that works great for most writers. Stephen King, I don't. This weird stuff must go on at that guy's house.
Sure.
Because or maybe he's just a genius.
that's what makes me, that always kind of like catches me. Like when you hear a certain kind of song or you see a movie that's really effed up, you start to question like, what is going on in that person's brain?
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
So-
Would you consider yourself an overachiever?
oh heavens, no. So
Yeah,
I'm
but you're
I'm
writing a book that takes 3 years.
I'm
you have to
excitingly
keep going
average.
back at it.
Well, it's like I told you guys before this. I have to have something to do, or I get into trouble.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Tell people what you did what was it, yesterday or the other day?
Oh, at my house?
Yeah.
Well, my daughter, who, she's grown and out, and she was sending presents home, to set aside for her to come home and wrap it for everybody. And she put me in charge of security. I crime scened her room. Okay, there's police tape across the door. There's a video camera set up. I've got a little strobe, one of those little flashing strobe lights on the floor. My wife was away for the weekend. She came home. She was not happy with me.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, first of all, you knew what I was when you married me.
Yeah.
Okay. Second of all, you know what I'm capable of. And number 3, this is what happens when you leave me unsupervised. So this is why I do it. I'm always in 2 or 3 bands at any given time, writing books.
So you always have to have something to do.
I'm like Lou. I have to have something to do, or I'm just getting into trouble, or causing trouble, or making trouble.
I just like sitting on the couch.
Idle hands, the devil's plaything.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what they say.
yeah.
And
So,
it's 1,000% true.
When I started going part-time, 3 days a week, and I was home more often, Mindy did not like that.
No, I would
At
imagine
all.
not. Yeah. So I would imagine not. So and you're lovable. I mean, who doesn't love,
Of course I am.
You're like Sara Lee Coffee Cake. Who doesn't love you?
Exactly, whatever that. I love Sarah.
He makes a good point. You are lovable.
Yeah.
And yet she didn't want you there.
She wanted the other couch to herself.
That's
What was
lot of
I
couch.
supposed to do?
I've been on that couch.
The
That's a
reason I
big
went
couch.
part-time 3 days a week is
Can't
because
share the couch.
I just needed some more me
But
time.
you're a pretty busy guy too. You keep busy.
I'm not that busy.
No? you could do more music stuff.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
He's too busy going to lakes.
Yeah. Well,
Lot of lakes.
that's busy. Lakes are busy.
Yeah.
So
Going to Europe next
Yeah.
year, it's like
What lakes are you going to visit in Europe?
I don't
Lake
know the
Como?
lakes. We're going to be on an ocean or a liner, a cruise ship. So
that sounds fun.
that's enough.
Mother of all lakes, the ocean. Jay, we wish you the best of success with this book, and we hope that everybody will buy it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You know what? This
Yeah.
could jumpstart my book narration career.
Could be.
Like
Could be.
audiobooks.
I am looking for somebody to do an audiobook for this and the first book. So
You would be great for that, Ethan.
I'm your man.
I think so.
Now let me
I
ask you a
think so.
question. When you have the people who are the characters in the book, would you like me to do different voices for them, or
Could you do different voices for them?
I don't know. We'll find out now, won't we?
The women might be a challenge for you.
That's right.
Let's see what that sounds. And there's children involved.
Right.
So there's pets. Can you do? That's
Yeah.
yeah. So no monkeys though. We don't have no monkeys in the book.
I'll call you if I need sound effects.
Sure.
Okay?
The book is called Mob Guy, R.J. Cadmus, and it says here, author of Ordinary Man, which you can also purchase. Where can people buy these two
You
books?
can get it on Amazon. Yeah, it's actually been doing pretty well. Amazon's had it
Good.
listed as a top 100 hot new release in its category. The categories are weird. They've got it in mafia romance.
Mafia romance.
Okay, they could put it in restroom cleaning products,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
custodial supplies. As long as it's selling.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's got I think 7 5-star ratings and reviews right now. It's doing pretty well. So
There
Good
you
for
go.
you, man.
yeah.
I better get on this, Lou.
Yeah. Well, extend a
What the
happy
hell?
holiday
Is that
and Merry
me?
Christmas to
No,
everybody.
that's me.
Oh, okay.
So my wife wanted me to change my text tone to something different from hers, so we don't get confused. And
Yeah.
that's the most different from hers I could find.
There you go.
So
And very obnoxious.
and extremely yes. Once again, troublemaker. Got to have something to do.
Uh-huh.
So
Jay Cadmus, thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you,
in.
Jay.
We appreciate it.
And thanks for the gifts.
Hey,
Yeah, man.
always. Got to take care of my guys.
I like that big sausage.
Yeah, right? I don't think you're supposed to talk about my big sausage.
Okay.
He did bring a sausage.
Mindy loves a sausage.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.